Hey everyone, welcome to Homeschool. Hope everybody are doing good. And I am back with MCQ series for class 10, especially for the students who are going to write board examination for the year 2021. See, already I covered MCQs on various chapters. Links are provided in the description. You can go and check it out. And also today I am with one more important chapter from physics part, that is magnetic effect of electric current. This is the most important chapter from physics. And before you watch this session, I want you to become perfect with entire concepts of the chapter. For that, the entire chapters playlist is provided in the description. Not only that, I have done a beautiful mind map on this particular chapter. At least I want you to go through that particular mind map so that your concepts gets revised. And the mind maps link is also provided in the description. Fine. So let me start with the questions. I picked the questions from almost all topics of the chapter. So here I go with the first question, which is there on a board also. Which of the given correctly describes the magnetic field near a long straight wire? Okay, so they are asking which is a correct sentence, which is a correct option, okay, about the magnetic field lines across a long straight wire. So we studied how the magnetic field lines appear in a straight conductor, if the conductor is in circular loop, or if the conductor is there in the form of a solenoid, right? Say in case of a straight conductor, magnetic field lines appear in concentric circles, isn't it? Say if this is a conductor, you know what? As the current flows in a conductor, magnetic field gets generated. And how do they get generated? Magnetic field lines gets generated in the form of a circular loop, right? And this magnetic field lines direction can be identified with the help of right hand thumb rule, right? Which was introduced by a person, Maxwell. Isn't it? Even right hand thumb rule is important to understand. So right hand thumb rule is used to identify the direction of field lines when a current is passed in a straight conductor. Clear? So now let us see which of the sentence is correct about magnetic field near a long straight wire. See the option A. The field consists of straight lines perpendicular to the wire? No. The field consists of straight lines parallel to the wire? Never. The field consists of radial lines originating from the wire? No. The field consists of concentric circles centered on the wire? Definitely yes. The field lines appear in a concentric circle way, right? So option 4 is correct answer for first question. Okay. So the first question, the answer is option 4. That is option D. Right. Let's go for the second question. The most suitable material for making the core of an electromagnet is option A, soft iron, option B, brass, option C, aluminium, and option D, steel. Definitely the answer is option A, iron. So let us try to understand what do you mean by this electromagnet. Say usually the solenoid, right? Say when you pass an electric current in a solenoid, what would happen? Magnetic field lines develop in a higher amount. Magnetic field is so much high that the moment you keep any magnetic material inside a solenoid, that magnetic material will become permanent magnet. Okay, so solenoid magnetic field is so much higher that if you keep a magnetic material like soft iron inside it, then it becomes a strong magnet and it is becoming a permanent magnet. So such a powerful magnet we call it as electromagnet, right? So for making an electromagnet, we will use iron, because iron is having a magnetic property. I mean, if you keep a magnet near iron, it will get attracted to that. That's what we mean by magnetic property, right? So here the option is A, that is soft iron. Okay. Let's go for third question. Overloading happens because, see the options, of connecting many appliances to a single socket. Yes, when you connect many electrical appliances in a single socket, overloading takes place. Short circuit, yes. Of hike in the supply voltage, say very high voltage when supplied, then also overloading occurs. So option D says any of this. Yes, when any of these things occur, definitely you will observe overloading. So for the third question, I would say the correct option is D. Okay, so option D, any of this. Coming to fourth question. The back face of a circular loop of wire is found to be south magnetic pole. The direction of current in this phase of the circular loop of wire will be. Say, this is actually a very much conceptual question. We have studied some rule called clock phase rule. Okay, so this clock phase rule was very nicely explained in one of my video regarding this circular loop. A link is provided in the description. If you want, you can just go and check it out. Entire playlist link is there where you select circular loop video. I explained clock phase rule in detail. Okay, say what actually they say is, there is a circular loop, right? So there is a circular loop, and this circular loop is connected to a battery, right? And current is flowing. This is positive terminal, negative terminal. Current is flowing through this circular loop. And what they say is, when current is flowing, definitely magnetic field is generated. And this is what called inside the loop. This area is called inside the loop, and the area outside is called outside the loop. Okay, so they say that the back face in the sense inside the loop. What do you mean by back face? It is inside the loop, right? So when there is a magnetic field generated in the circular loop, what pole does the inside of a circular loop has? Okay, say current, if it flows in a clockwise direction, we have a shortcut here, right? Say, this is the shortcut. Yes means what? Whenever a current is flowing in a clockwise direction, inside of the loop will have a south pole. Outside area of the loop will have a north pole. Okay, so this is actually a shortcut. See, when current direction is clockwise, inside part of a loop will have a south pole. Outside part of a loop, inside is also called as backside. Okay, backside part of a loop will have a south pole, and front side of the loop or outside part of a loop will have north pole. Okay, so this is the shortcut. You see, this is what? Clockwise, right? See the direction. Yes, see the direction clockwise. So south pole, inside of the loop will have south pole when current direction is flowing in a clockwise direction. Okay, so similarly, if the current flows in opposite direction, okay, so then we have a shortcut, this, see, anti-clockwise. If the current direction is anti-clockwise, then inside the loop, that means the backside of the loop will have a north pole. Okay, then outside area of the loop will have a south pole. right? So this is how the questions can be asked on clock phase rule, and this is a much deeper concept. Actually, this year they said that direct questions only can be asked, but we can't expect, right? So it can be little tougher also. I mean to say, I'm not making you to get scared. You have to be prepared for any type of a question. I don't think the entire question paper will have a tougher question, no, but at least one or two questions may come from application part. One or two questions can be asked in a twisted way, right? So that's why I have selected this question. Say very much conceptual. This question can be answered only if you know the concept of clock phase rule. Okay, only if you know clock phase rule. Okay, so this was very nicely explained in my video. If you want, you can just check it out. Clear? Fine. So this is the shortcut to remember clock phase rule, guys. So whenever current flows in a clockwise direction, the inside part of the loop will have a south pole and the outside part of the loop will have a north pole. Whenever current flows in an anti-clockwise direction, the backside of the loop or inside part of a loop will have a north pole and the other side will have a south pole. That's it. This is the trick that you have to remember to answer such questions. Okay, so now you will understand the question. Read out carefully. The back face of a circular loop of wire, that means the inside part of a loop, the inner part of a loop, is found to be south magnetic pole. They said that inner part of the loop is south pole. It's having a south pole. The direction of current in this phase of circular loop of wire will be. So if the inside part of the loop is having a south pole means, then definitely the direction of current is clockwise. The direction of the current is clockwise, isn't it? So where is the option mentioned here? Read out the options. Option A, towards south. Option B, clockwise. Option C, anti-clockwise. Option D, towards north. No, it is option B, right? So for this question, the answer is option B. Clear? So very, very conceptual and deeper concept. Fine. Let's go for fifth question. The magnetic field inside a long straight solenoid carrying current. Say this is a very common question which is there in our NCERT book also, right? Say if you have a solenoid, when current is passed in a solenoid, magnetic field gets generated. And how does the magnetic field look like? It looks like exactly like a bar magnet, right? So the field lines look like a bar magnet. And inside the solenoid, the field lines are uniform. Inside the solenoid, the field lines look uniform. That means the field strength is constant at every point inside the solenoid. Right? So we know this point. So based on this, they are asking. So what is the question? The magnetic field inside a long straight solenoid carrying current. Read out the option. Is 0. No, it's not 0. B, decreases as we move towards its end. No. C, increases as we move towards its end. No. D, is same at all points. Yes, magnetic field is same at all points. That's what we mean by the word uniform. Okay, so it is constant. At every point inside the solenoid, the magnetic field is constant. It is same at every point. Okay, so that is the actual meaning of the word uniform, right? So what is the answer for this question? So for the fifth question, the option is D. Option D is the answer, isn't it? Okay, now let us go for the sixth question. The essential difference between an AC generator and a DC generator is, they're just asking what is the difference between AC and DC generator, right? Okay, can you all able to recall its construction, AC generator construction as well as DC generator construction? See, in case of AC generator, you have used slit rings, right? Slit rings. In AC generator, we will use slit rings, or we will also say commutator. We will say it as commutator. In case of DC generator, we will use slip rings. Slip rings, right? So here you will have a current flowing in a single direction. You will have a current flowing in a single direction, but here direction gets reversed. Yes or no? Direction gets reversed periodically. At every interval of time, the direction becomes opposite. That means the direction keeps on changes. That's what we mean by AC current. But here the direction is same. It moves in a single direction, right? So in AC generator, we use slit rings, whereas in DC generator, we use slip rings. This is the major difference that we have observed in the construction part. So now let us see the options. AC generator has an electromagnet while a DC generator has a permanent magnet. No, both has electromagnet. You know, commercial generators will always have electromagnets. Okay, B, DC generator will generate a higher voltage. It's not like that. AC generator will generate a higher voltage. No. AC generator has slip rings while DC generator has a commutator. Commutator means it is, slit rings. Clear? So option 4 is correct answer. So this is the difference between AC generator and DC generator. Okay. So one difference is in its construction. The other difference is in the direction of current produced. Okay. Say AC generator, current direction gets reversed at every interval, right after every interval. Whereas in DC generator, current always gets generated and it flows in a single direction. Clear? Fine. And now let us go for 7th question. So for the 6th question, what is the option? Option D is the answer. Fine. Now let's go for the 7th question. Read out the 7th question. An electric motor is a device which transfers. So we all know electric motor always converts electric energy into mechanical energy, right? Whereas a generator converts mechanical energy into electrical energy. So this point of difference is very, very important. So an electric motor is a device which transfers. Option A, mechanical energy into electrical energy? No. So which will convert mechanical into electrical energy? It is generator. Okay. Electric energy into mechanical energy? Yes. For the 7th question, option B is the answer. Okay. So it will convert electrical energy into mechanical energy. Coming to 8th question, very, very important question. The strength of magnetic field around a current carrying conductor is option inversely proportional to current but directly proportional to the square of the distance of the wire. So can you tell me how does the magnetic field, it may be, you know what, it may be a straight conductor, it may be a circular loop, or it may be a solenoid. Can you tell me on what factors our magnetic field depends? You know, first one is our magnetic field is directly proportional to the strength of current. So more the current that is passing in a conductor, more is the magnetic field that is produced, isn't it? Say that is one point. The other point is magnetic field always, it is inversely proportional to distance. Okay, so more the distance from the conductor, magnetic field experienced will be very, very less. Right? So if you want to experience a better magnetic field, the distance have to be very less. You will experience that near the conductor, not away from the conductor, right? So if the conductor is here, say somewhere in this area, you would experience a field. But here, can you all experience? No. As the distance increases, our magnetic field strength decreases, right? So one is the distance. And now if you come to a solenoid, our magnetic field actually directly proportional to number of turns. Okay, solenoid is a coiled structure. It will have many turns, isn't it? So in case of solenoid, our magnetic field strength also depends on number of turns. Okay, and one more point is direction of magnetic field lines changes as the direction of current changes. Okay, so as current's direction changes, our field lines direction also changes. So these are the 4 points you should always keep it in a mind, whether it may be a straight conductor or circular loop or solenoid. Okay, so here this point and this point is very, very important. Okay, so now you can select the option maybe. First option is wrong, right? They are saying that magnetic field is inversely proportional to current. No, magnetic field is always directly proportional to current. Option B, let us read it out. Directly proportional to the current and inversely proportional to the distance from wire. Yes, magnetic field is always directly proportional to the current and it is inversely proportional to the distance from the wire. So definitely for our 8th question, option B is the correct answer, right? Fine. Now let us go for the 9th question here. The nature of magnetic field lines passing through the center of current carrying circular loop. So this is also a very famous question from this chapter. Say when you have a circular loop, right? Say as you go at the center, what is the nature of magnetic field? You know what? On a circular loop, at every point, magnetic field lines appear in concentric circles, right? Okay, let me consider this point and this point. Say magnetic field lines are appearing in a concentric circle way. So as they are going at the center, imagine, you just observe, as I move this concentric circle at the center, you see in the center how they appear. In the center, they appear as though they are straight lines, right? So in the center, they appear as straight lines here. Clear? Because as the distance increases, just keep on drawing number of circles. As you go far away, what happens? You would observe a bigger circle, right? Where at the center of a circular loop, they just appear as though they are straight lines. Clear? So at the center of a loop, magnetic field lines always appear as straight lines. So this point is very, very important to remember. So now you can select the option here. So which is the question I'm talking about? Yes, question number 9, right? Okay. So the nature of magnetic field line passing through the center of current carrying circular loop is straight line. Where is the option mentioned? It is mentioned in option D, right? So for our 9th question, option D is the correct answer, right? Okay. 10th question. The factor on which one magnetic field strength produced by current carrying solenoid depends on. So our magnetic field in case of solenoid depends on which factor they are asking. Yes, it depends on the current, directly proportional to current. It depends on the distance, right? Inversely proportional to distance. It depends on the number of turns also, right? So let us just read it out the option here. Magnitude of current, that means strength of current. Yes, magnetic field depends on magnitude of current. Number of turns, yes, I said it depends on number of turns. See, nature of core material, definitely yes. Say if you introduce a soft iron inside a solenoid, more and more magnetic field would get generated. So definitely it also depends on nature of core material. Clear? So what is the option you would select here? All the above. So for our 10th question, I would select option D as the answer, right? All the above. Okay. Let's go for 11th question. Direction of rotation of a coil in electric motor is determined by. So we all know the principle of electric motor, right? So can you all able to recall the principle of electric motor? See, whenever a current carrying conductor is kept in a magnetic field, current carrying conductor, when it is kept in a magnetic field, what would happen? Conductor experiences a force. Okay, because it experiences a force, conductor starts moving. Okay, it starts rotating, it starts moving in a particular direction. right? So this is the major principle of electric motor. And the direction of the force experienced by the conductor can be identified with the help of a rule called Fleming's left hand rule, isn't it? So here all the thumb rules are really very important. Can you all tell me what is Fleming's left hand rule? So when you keep your left hand and hold thumb finger, forefinger and middle finger mutually perpendicular to each other, if the forefinger tells you the direction of magnetic field, middle finger talks about the direction of current, then thumb finger will give you the direction in which the force is experienced by the conductor. Okay, so I repeat once again, if this is your thumb finger, if this is your forefinger, and if this is your middle finger. Okay, so forefinger always talks about the direction of magnetic field, and middle finger will tell about the direction of current. And when you know these two directions, the direction experienced or the force experienced by the conductor can be identified with the direction of thumb finger. Okay, so father, mother, child. So current means C. Okay, so thumb, father, it will talk about the direction of force. Mother, magnetic field, talks about the direction of magnetic field. And child talks about the direction of current. Okay, so this is a shortcut rule to remember, Fleming's left hand rule. Right? So here to identify the force experienced by the conductor or to identify the direction of movement of conductor, then definitely Fleming's left hand rule is used. So what is the option you will select? Option A, Fleming's right hand rule. No. Option B, Fleming's left hand rule. Yes. For the 11th question, option B is the correct answer. Okay. So Fleming's left hand rule, then Maxwell's right hand thumb rule, then Fleming's right hand rule. All the three rules are very, very important, and explanation was given in my mind map also regarding this particular topic. You can go and watch it. Fine. And let me go for the 12th question. Read out the 12th question. The instrument that is used to detect electric current in a circuit is known as. So which is the instrument that is used to detect electric current? It is galvanometer, isn't it? So where is the option mentioned? It is option C. So for 12th question, the option is C. Very simple question. Let's talk about 13th question now. We can induce the current in a coil by moving the coil in a magnetic field, by changing the magnetic field around it, by changing the orientation of the coil in the magnetic field. Option D, all the above. So definitely here the answer is all the above, isn't it? Say, how did you get all the above? Option D is the answer. Say, we all have studied electromagnetic induction. That's on which our generators will work, isn't it? Say, what is this electromagnetic induction? It says that changing the magnetic field induces current in a conductor, right? Say, how you can change the magnetic field? You must have observed the Faraday's experiments which are mentioned in a textbook. You know what? They are very, very, very important. Okay. Say, when you have a circular coiled structure, I mean, when you have a solenoid-like structure, and you connect that to a galvanometer, and he took a bar magnet, and what he did was he passed this bar magnet into the coil, and then he took it away, passed and took it away. So that way he brought a change in the magnetic field around this particular conductor. So that is the reason why the current has induced. The moment you observe this change in the magnetic field, you would observe the deflection in the galvanometer. That means change in the magnetic field brings current in a conductor. Okay, it induces current in a conductor. How you can bring the change in a magnetic field? Either you can move your magnet inside and outside, or you can move your coil, right? Or you can change the orientation. Anyway, by any means, when you change the magnetic field around a conductor, then that definitely induces a current in a conductor, right? So here by always by moving the coil in a magnetic field, or by changing the magnetic field around it, or by changing the orientation of a coil, you can bring that change in the magnetic field, and that leads to inducing electric current in a conductor, right? So this is the concept of electromagnetic induction and Faraday's experiments. Very, very, very important from this particular chapter. So all the above is the correct option. And now let us go for 14th question. AC generator works on the principle of, just now I discussed, AC or DC, all generators would work on a principle of electromagnetic induction. So where is it mentioned in the option? Yes, it is mentioned in option B. So for 14th question, option B is the correct answer. And coming to the 15th question. The main advantage of AC power transmission over DC power transmission over long distances. We know AC current is preferred more than DC current. It's because, when current is flowing through a longer distances, much of the energy is lost in case of DC current, but less of energy, very little of energy can be lost in case of AC current. So that is the major advantage of AC current over DC current. So which is the option you will select here? Option A. AC transmits without much loss of energy. That's why AC current is more preferred than DC, isn't it? So for 15th question, option A is the correct answer. Clear? Coming to 16th question. Commercial electric motors do not use. Usually commercial motors will use electromagnet. Instead of permanent magnet, electromagnet is used in commercial electric motors. Okay. So now let us just check it out which options. Commercial electric motors do not use an electromagnet to rotate the armature. Actually, they use electromagnet to rotate the armature. Effectively, large number of turns of conducting wire in the current carrying conductor. Yes. So when they use the conductor with many turns, can be used for generating effective, magnetic field. C option, a permanent magnet to rotate the armature. Actually, commercial motors do not use permanent magnet to rotate the armature, because more and more magnetic field has to be generated, okay, for conversion of electric current into mechanical energy, electrical energy into mechanical energy. So permanent magnet is that much effective. So in the commercial electric motor, they do not use permanent magnet. Okay. So definitely for the 16th question, option C is the answer. Option C is the answer. Clear? And fourth option, a soft iron core on which the coil is wound. Yes, in the commercial motors, to generate the effective magnetic field, they use a soft iron core. That means they use electromagnet. Okay, the first option meaning and the fourth option meaning, I mean the D option meaning is more or less same, right? Okay. Now let us go for 17th question. The most important safety method used for protecting home appliances from short circuiting or overloading is to use the fuse. So what is the importance of fuse? Fuses will protect electrical appliances from overloading and short circuiting, isn't it? So where is the option mentioned? Yes, it's mentioned in option B. So definitely for our 17th question, option B is the correct answer, right? Very simple question. Coming to 18th question. The magnetic field lines always begin from, we all have studied properties of magnetic field lines, right? Can you all recall the properties right now? The first property, magnetic field lines always move from north pole to south pole. First property. Second one, magnetic field lines never intersect with each other. Very, very important point. And the third one, magnetic field strength is maximum at the poles. Yes. and the magnetic field lines are always in a circular loops, isn't it? So these are the 4 properties of magnetic field lines. And what are they asking? The magnetic field lines always begin from north pole to south pole. Where is it mentioned? Yes, it is mentioned in option A. So for 18th question, the correct answer is option A. Okay, let's go for 19th question. The direction of induced current is given by. Okay, so in electromagnetic induction, whenever you change the magnetic field strength around a conductor, electric current is induced, I said, right? And the direction of induced current can be identified with the help of a thumb rule called Fleming's right hand rule, RIGHT, right hand rule, isn't it? So can you all able to recall what is Fleming's right hand rule? If this is a thumb finger, if this is a forefinger, and if this is a middle finger, right? So what does the forefinger indicates? It will indicate the direction of magnetic field. If it indicates the direction of magnetic field, and if the thumb finger indicates the direction of movement of conductor, movement of conductor, then your middle finger will give you the direction of induced current, isn't it? So this is our Fleming's right hand thumb rule. So if you stretch your 3 fingers perpendicular to each other, your forefinger, if this gives a direction of magnetic field, and if your thumb finger indicates the direction of movement of conductor, then your middle finger will give you the direction of induced current. This is our Fleming's right hand rule, isn't it? So can you all select the option here? The direction of induced current is given by definitely Fleming's right hand rule. Okay, so that means for the 19th question, option A is correct answer. Right? Fine. Coming to the last question, 20th question. The insulation color of earth wire. So earth wire will have a green color, live wire will have a red insulation, and neutral wire will have a black insulation. And here I would recommend you to recall the importance of earth wire and earthing, right? So what is the importance of earth wire here? It will protect the people from electric shocks. So whenever more current accumulated on metallic body, the extra current, would go through earth wire, which is having a less resistance, and through earth wire it will get disposed in earth. That's how people gets protected from shocks, isn't it? So that process is called earthing, right? So here you must know the importance of live wire, neutral wire, and earth wire, right? That's why I have put this question also in the MCQs. So for the 20th question, what is the option? Option C is the correct answer. So these are the different 20 MCQs that I got for you all from the chapter Magnetic Effect of Electric Current. See, almost I covered all the thumb rules and each and every topic, right? So here concept clarity is very, very important for solving MCQs. It is not just mugging up some definitions or something. It's real in-depth meaning. When you understand, you can confidently attempt MCQs, right? So that's all about today's session. And in my next session, I will come up with the chapter Carbon and its Compounds. So take care, revise every concept, and prepare to a maximum extent for your examinations. All the best and good luck.